Hi everyone, it's Matt. I am back with another Esper Dance of the Mance video. I have been tweaking this list to be a little bit better against control, as I found that the meta has shifted pretty heavily in that direction. Narset Parter of Veils is one of the cards that I'm trying to get more access to, so I've actually gotten up to one in the main deck and one in the sideboard. I also have gone down to 26 lands. I have been playing around with that before with the addition of the 3 Birth of Meletus. And I got rid of the Golden Egg as a way to make room for the Narset in the main deck. So we're going to queue up and see how it goes. Currently trying to crack into the top 100. I found Arena to be fairly swingy lately. I've been as high as 63 this season and then fallen into the percentages a few times as well. Currently sitting in the high 300s. And this is an excellent opener against pretty much anything except for mono red. I've noticed that mono red has been really on the downswing lately. I've been running into it a lot less, which is why I've made the adjustments that I made. So this could be a Team of Reclamation deck. Oh, it looks like it might actually be the kind of mid-range control deck with Tamiyo. And Tamiyo, Collector of Tales, has been pretty good in the control-heavy meta, so it also has a pretty interesting passive in terms of how it interacts with Doom Foretold. It prevents us from causing them to sacrifice their permanents, but the way that the cards are worded, it does then trigger the Doom Foretold, so we still do draw an extra card, get our 2/2, and they have to get rid of a card. I like both of the Agonizing Remorse here. Should be helpful to sort of start picking apart their hand. And now, this is a very interesting turn. We have multiple good options. We have both of the Planeswalkers. We could Agonizing Remorse or Thirst for Meaning, and I'm not sure which one is best. My inclination is to try to run out the Narset and turn off any card draw they might have. The other option would be to play out Teferi to turn off any counter magic. I think I'm going to go with the Narset since they can't pressure it right now, and if this resolves, it could be really strong. So this turns off things like Uro, Growth Spiral in terms of drawing a card, and a lot of the ways that they gain an advantage. And here I think grabbing Dance of the Mance for the long game makes the most sense. So the scariest thing to come down here would be a Nissa. Teferi is much less scary, especially since they can't actually draw the card off of it right now.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
And here I'm tempted to double Agonizing Remorse. The only problem is if I do it once and there's not something else worth taking, it does shut down the rest of our turn. We could play our own Teferi here. The Teferi Narset combo is pretty insane. Yeah, I think I just want to make sure they can't do anything like a Nissa. I'm not sure why they wouldn't have played it that turn, though. Maybe resolving Teferi is just better, because it doesn't seem like they have a whole lot they can do to punish us. Alright, so this actually turns off the only way for them to play around the Narset, which is to try to draw their card on our turn. So I like this quite a bit. And actually, I'm probably going to have to discard. So I'm just going to plus Teferi here.
Don't worry, I got this.
Play out a tapped land. And draw once more off Narset.
Meditate and prepare.
I think Omen of the Sea makes the most sense. So yeah, the combo of Narset and Teferi is really difficult to play against because it kind of turns off the only way to get around the downside of Narset in trying to draw cards on the opponent's turn.
I am not making this up as I go.
So here, I'm tempted to actually Wrath just to keep both of our Planeswalkers on the board. I could also Omen of the Sea in an attempt to find a Doom Foretold. No, I would be 1 mana short there. Yeah, it feels like just keeping the board clear and using our Planeswalker advantage is the best way to go forward. I am going to bounce our Omen of the Sea since I won't have to discard here.
Let's try this.
I realized that immediately after I said I won't have to discard, I wasn't taking into account the extra draw off to Teferi. And have 2 lands in hand, I don't need to hit another. I think it makes sense to actually get rid of one of the Omen of the Sea here. We can set the Dance of the Mansa. Okay, so they have temporarily taken out our Narset.
Here we go.
And here, I think Agonizing Remorse to see what they have going on, and then Thirst for Meaning makes a lot of sense. Get rid of the Thassa's Intervention here. And as soon as we find a Doom Foretold and they have to sacrifice the Banishing Light to give us back a full counter Narset, that should really end the game.
I'll protect you.
Going to go ahead and scry here. Oh, Oath of Kaya is a nice one too to start attacking down their Teferi. I'm actually going to leave that on top. We also have the option of discarding it to Thirst for Meaning. And because of their Teferi, I do have to do this on our turn. And there's the Doom Foretold. So here, I think I'm going to get rid of the Omen of the Sea. Oath of Kaya can also hit a Tamiyo or a Narset if they're playing those cards, so I like having access to it in our hand. And the plan next turn is to play out Doom Foretold and potentially Agonizing Remorse, and then the turn after that to play a Dance of the Manse. And at this point, we've built up a pretty large card advantage.
I've got it.
Okay. So Agonizing Remorse can actually pick this off from the graveyard if we need to. Considering also bouncing the Banishing Light and then taking Banishing Light from them and playing Doom Foretold. Kind of like that actually. Oh, Elspeth Conquers Death is an even better solution here. So I think now it makes sense to Elspeth Conquers Death, getting rid of Cavalier of Thorns. and then Agonizing Remorse to get rid of their Banishing Light. And it feels pretty difficult for them to come back from this position.
With thoughtfulness
And
before
another
action.
Doom Foretold is excellent. So even if they bring back Uro here, we have double Doom Foretold to answer everything on the board. And they're not even going to be able to draw the additional card off of it. Yeah, so this is definitely not going to work out very well for them. And again, at this point, we just have so many additional cards, it's pretty hard to figure out a way they can come back from this position. So I'm going to go with the double Doom Foretold plan, clearing their board. We'll draw another card off Narset.
Hone your prowess.
And another Teferi seems good. And with Dance of the Manse in hand, it doesn't really matter, even if we choose to sacrifice both of our own Doom Fortolds on our next turn. Can bring them both back as creatures. So the opponent does have the ability to scry here, but again, I don't think there's any one card that could get them back into this. The best chance might be a Hydroid Krasis, just to try to start drawing some additional cards and refill their hand. But again, with Dance of the Manse, it's usually enough to close out the game. Alright, Elspeth Conquers Death is a good start, but again, not going to be quite enough. And here I am just going to get rid of both Doom Foretolds with the intention of bringing them back on our turn. One thing to consider is, I don't know if this list plays any counter magic, but getting our Dance of the Manse countered would be one possible way we could mess this up. So I might want to lead with Teferi, not bring everything back as creatures, and just bring everything back. I would be able to do 4 enchantments that way, and that seems really strong. So I'm actually going to lead with Teferi just in case.
Trust me. You'll thank me later.
And now we can bring back 4 enchantments. And at this point, we actually have a lot of action, so I'm fine continuing to hit land drops. I don't really think it matters much. Banishing Light seems like a good catch-all. We'll take Teferi out.
This might be a bad idea.
And with the second Dance of the Manse, we can definitely bring back everything as a creature. So this looks like it might be the list that I saw Crokies post to Twitter recently with the 4 Night of Autumn. The nice thing about the Esper Dance deck is even if they blow up your Doom Foretold, you are eventually buying it back. The only thing that really throws us off is if they actually exile it. Again, the Narset will turn off the card draw from Uro. And I think just going for both Doom Foretold as creatures makes perfect sense. And bouncing Uro seems good.
More like it.
And a Scry. Oath of Kai is fine. Gives us something to sacrifice to Doom Foretold if we need to keep it going. Okay. And at this point, it's sort of an embarrassment of riches over here. We'll start chipping away at their life total. And I think, actually, since I have the next Dance of the Manse already, I'm going to go ahead and hit them with both Oath of Kaias, even though it sends one to the yard. Just start closing out the game here. And our life total is high enough that we can afford this Treacherous Blessing.
Here goes nothing.
And we can pitch really anything. We'll get rid of the Godless Shrine. Our opponent is upkeep scrying, hoping to find something. Alright, and I think we should probably be able to end the game on our next turn. Questing Beast is nice. It does allow them to get rid of the Planeswalkers. But we are going to be able to hit them for 6 and bring back an Oath of Kaya to end the game. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, on to game 2. So Narset seems really strong against any other control deck that's also open to draw cards. I think they have a lot of green permanents, so Aether Gust could be good. I don't like the Kaya's Wraths. I also don't like the Birth of Meletus. 2 Duress as a really cheap way to interact with them seems powerful. 2 Dovin Veto. Cutting 1 Oath of Kaya. I could potentially trim more if I need to, but I like having a way to attack down something like a Narset or a Teferi on the opposing side. We have a lot of card advantage engines here. I think this configuration looks pretty good. I've been on the fence about Mystical Disputes in these matches. I think on the draw especially, they're just not quite as relevant because oftentimes your opponent can keep a Mystical Dispute up as well and then later in the game just pay for them. So I'm going to leave the Mystical Disputes out. I think this setup actually feels really solid. The alternative would be to cut a few more Oath of Kaya and bring in some number of Mystical Disputes. Yeah, and I really can't think of a much better starting hand against a control deck, so we're going to keep. just see what they've got going on. Alright, so I think the plan is to take away their growth spile, then take away their Teferi. Alternatively, I can allow them to resolve Teferi with the plan of getting rid of it with Doom Foretold. Okay, so 3 good options here. I think since they are pinched on mana for right now, not allowing them to draw the card feels valuable. So I am going to cut the Teferi, hoping to slow them down enough that by the time they have the mana for Nissa or Elspeth Conquers Death, we've pulled far enough ahead.
If you wish to, keep an open mind.
Wow. Also 2 excellent options here. I'll definitely take the Duress though. That will be relevant much sooner. Okay, now they are 1 mana away from Nissa or Elspeth Conquers Death. And since they have 2 5-mana plays, it's a little bit less tempting to Duress on this turn. I think I want to draw another card.
Just the trick for this.
Take the Teferi. And probably play out Doom Foretold. Now I do have the option, though, of Teferi plus Duress. And then Doom Foretold on the following turn. I actually really like that because that will allow us to get rid of Nissa. So I have to play this first.
This isn't a fight you can win.
We're going to Duress them on their draw.
I've got time.
Ooh, Questing Beast does present a few problems, but nothing we can't handle. I think getting rid of Elspeth Conquers Death makes the most sense. It's just a big swing. And if they play Nissa and attack one of our Planeswalkers, we do get to Doom Foretold.
In this land, we are all connected. Be wary of the ground you walk on.
We can actually set them back a land here as well. That feels really, really strong.
I've got it.
Don't need another Thirst for Meaning. Alright, so we will have the Questing Beast incoming, which will force us to then sacrifice our Doom Foretold. Actually, I take that back. We need our stop. We can Omen of the Sea here. Oh, I just missed the stop. Brutal. Oh, man. Okay. Let's start with Thirst for Meaning. And we'll pitch the Omen of the Sea. And Banishing Light this Questing Beast. Oh man, missing that stop was definitely painful. I thought I got it in time.
Strange and magnificent world. Rise, my elemental.
Okay, so we're gonna have to use some combination of Ether Gust and our Planeswalkers to close this one out. Let's start with Teferi.
I'm known for my
Bounce
excellent timing.
the land.
Might be a bad idea.
Go ahead and scry. Looking for a Doom Foretold, a Treacherous Blessing. Is that going to be fast enough? I think it is, actually. Because if we hit Doom Foretold off of it, that's really strong. And then after they draw, we're going to Aether Gust their Nissa. We could also draw things like Dovin's Veto off of the Treacherous Blessing, just to close out Nissa if they put Nissa back on top. And we will also have the ability to play Narset instead and play the Treacherous Blessing a little bit later. Let's start by taking Teferi up.
Trust me, I have a plan.
So Narset actually lets us see the most cards. I think I like Narset better here. We know that their next draw is Nissa, so we're keeping that in mind. Oh boy, so Aether Gust kind of delays the game a bit more. Doom Foretold will deal with Nissa. I think I like Doom Foretold actually. They'll get to kill Narset or Teferi, but the Doom Foretold should kind of start locking them out of the game. Aether Gust is just a delay. I'm gonna go with the Doom Foretold. Alright, and we have found a Dovin's Veto now as well. So I can block the land to keep both Planeswalkers alive. Start with Treacherous Blessing. Okay, and now Narset. And we should have just enough mana to play this. That's excellent. Take out Nissa here. Alright, this does leave us dead to exactly Questing Beast off the top.
Here goes nothing.
But if we can avoid that for a turn, we should be able to pull away with the game. Okay, so they're going to draw a couple cards here. Let's bounce the land.
Don't worry, I got you.
This is really tricky because our Treacherous Blessing is kind of coming back to bite us here. I can bounce the Krasis as a way to slow them down, and even them drawing a couple more cards isn't actually that helpful since we have so many additional resources.
Right on.
So I am going to do that.
That's more like it.
Oh, and Dream Trawler is a nice one. Alright, so I think we just go to 1 here. I see no reason to throw away the Dream Trawler. I could have considered doing it and bringing it back with Elspeth, Conquer's Death, but I think bringing back one of the Planeswalkers feels much stronger. Alright, so Narset or Teferi is the question. Going to bring back Narset and hope to find a clean way to deal with Questing Beast. Do we do it before or after we draw a card? Let's do it after. And I think it actually makes sense to use the scry to see a little bit farther, making sure we can find something. Alright.
Hone your prowess.
So Dance of the Manse will definitely do it. Let's grab that. And Dance of the Manse for 6 exactly. And we can even keep Dovin's Veto up. And that's the game. Okay. Not the cleanest match, but a nice victory nonetheless. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please consider liking or subscribing below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.